All right, Alfred here. I'm a Nissan Titan owner. I have a 2017 Nissan Titan, a 2017 5.6 liter V8, the VK engine. It's a gasoline engine, two-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive. And I had a code p0720. And code p0720 is an output speed sensor circuit code on the DTC. And I have an OBD scanner, ODB, whatever. I have an Obadiah, and that's the code I got. So I went through and I changed the actual speed sensor. Let me find where I put it at. I changed the actual speed sensor. Give me a second. There it is. The first thing I did, because I didn't know any better, I changed the speed sensor. And the first thing I recommend you do before you do any work, if you have a vehicle, is to go online, go to a forum, say for instance, a Nissan forum. I went to the Nissan forum and found the manufacturer service manual, which is about, probably 10, 20,000 pages long. I just went and got the sections I needed. The transmission section and the circuit section, because it was reading a output speed sensor circuit code. And I went through and I got all the DTC information, the description, and the process to troubleshoot it. Went through that. Check for continuity on the relays. So this is what I would advise anybody who's trying to troubleshoot to do. Go online and find the actual service manual, because it'll have everything you need, even if you don't have a high dollar ODB scanner. I just got a $30 OB. I just got a $30 scanner. It's a Zurich. I got it from Harbor Freight. And it does the job for me. It did the job for me. But like I was saying, I went through and I had to end up tracing all the wires. You can find each connector listing. See, I'm good with drawings. If you're good with schematics and drawings and blueprints, and you can understand all that, you can get through this. But if you're not, man, I ain't gonna lie, it's gonna give you a hard time. But like I said, I went through, I changed the output speed sensor, and that didn't help me at all. I was still getting the same code, and the transmission was still, it was hesitating, and it wasn't going into fourth gear. It'd go, if I took it easy, it'll shift fine to third. But if I laid into it and hit the throttle hard, it would start missing, and it wasn't catching the gear. So it was missing and wasn't going into fourth at all. So to save my transmission, I didn't drive it for a few weeks, and I went through and I studied and changed the sensor, studied the manual, went through the harness, every single wire connector on this circuit. I traced that. It was fine. And I started getting frustrated. I was like, man, what do I do now? So I kept researching. I found on YouTube a video, IPT performance transmissions, and they have a video where they're changing the whole TCM right here. This right here is the TCM unit, transmission control module unit. Depending on which engine you have is gonna determine the location of your transmission control module. I have the gasoline 5.6 liter engine, so mine was in the transmission on the bottom side. You have to open the oil pan, the transmission oil pan, or the transmission fluid pan, and unmount the control valve. You'll see a control valve assembly block. You pull that block out, And this will be sitting on top of that control body valve. This is actually the input speed sensor right here. And the range sensor connects right here in here. And the output speed sensor connects into a little connector on the range sensor. And this sits on top of the valve body, like I said. And then you got your solenoid connectors right here. The circuit connectors for the solenoids right here. So I took all my same solenoids. I took all the same solenoids, the same control valve. All I changed was the TCM. I used the same range sensor on it. Only thing I changed was this. Thanks to a service bulletin, because I watched the video. Like I say, I changed the sensor. I almost was like, man, what do? I don't want to give up. Kept watching videos, ran across a video, IPTC performance transmission, and an older guy was sitting there changing the actual TCM on the transmission control valve body. And he said the sensors, he's never changed the bad sensor. He's never had to change the sensor because on that circuit, it's actually the TCM that goes bad. And thanks to the service bulletin, the Nissan Infinity service bulletin, I found out from that video. So I shout out to IPTC Performance Transmissions for hooking me up on that knowledge. And I thought I'd pass it on to somebody else. So, yep, that's what I did, man. And you go and you find the instructions, the assembly and disassembly instructions for it. And you go through and you go by. It's got the bolt sizes, where they go. So you'll always have a reference. And what I like to do, each type of bolt that I pull out, I put them in separate little plastic bags. These little cheap sandwich bags, I put them in there in their own bags until I get done. And that way I don't lose any bolts. So that's my thing. And like I said, I'm not an electrician. My brothers are, brother, they are electricians. So they had helped me on the circuit part, but I have my own multimeter. I use that. So I did most of the work myself and just had them verify the circuits were good. And yeah, man, like I said, that's the best thing I can recommend. Like I say, you can go through the procedure, check the main supply, the ground circuit. I went through all that, man. It took me weeks to get done. But we got done, though. We got done. So, yeah, hopefully that helps somebody with a service bulletin. Change the TCM, not the output speed sensor.